Alright, welcome to week 2 of the Domain 9 series. Starting out, we did get a level increase. So the first one happened 4 days after the patch, and the second one happened 5 days after the patch. So there's a good chance that 6 days after the patch, we might have our next level increase to where we can reach level 94, which will be July 12th, getting us one step closer to level 95. So let's go ahead and take a look at the casual tab. First, we have Artificial Island, to where you can simply hit this present icon and you can collect your resources for the day. You want to make sure that you do this every day because you can only hold your resources for 24 hours. But do make sure that you visit your Artificial Island at least one time a week. And once inside your Artificial Island, you can simply click on this triangle and then you can check your exchange store. And you want to make sure that you buy these items every week, and the month did reset, so you might even have some monthly items available. But while you're on the island, you want to make sure that you kill your enemies because they reset every Monday, and that can give you a lot of resources to level up your buildings or make matrices. And every day around 12 o'clock, you want to make sure that you check and see if you have a mysterious vendor, which will be located around here. And if not, make sure you check your friends or crewmates islands so that way you can get your 8 free items for the week. Next, we got fishing. So ideally, you want to try to get your fishing level to 9, so that way you can buy your weekly standard matrice. If you're just starting out and you don't have a lot of time to fish, then you want to try to buy 100 to 150 green bait. And then with your available bait for the week, buy purple bait. That way once you have time to fish, you have plenty of good bait. And next you want to check your appointed research. Because remember, you can only hold a grand total of 20 energy and you get 5 free energy a day. And you want to make sure that this does not cap. Which brings us to Ronnie, the resource dealer. So you want to make sure that you buy his 3 important items every week. Unfortunately, when you click on Ronnie, it doesn't teleport you there, but at least gets you to the map. And once you get to Ronnie, you want to make sure you buy your mini pelican shards, your energy, and your potent omnium crystal. And if you're a boat main, you really want to make sure that you get those mini pelican shards. And the last thing is racing. You want to make sure that you do this before the month is over, so that way you can get that free 400 Mira. Next, you want to do your Mia's Kitchen, and you want to knock out your 4 bounties for the day. And you want to make sure that you pick the Domain 9 bounties. That way you can get these keys. And one thing to note about these keys is that you may want to start saving them, because in patch 3.2, we're going to have a new energy system. And patch 3.2 may be coming sooner than you think. I'm thinking it's coming within the next 2 months. Which brings us to Vitality, starting with joint operations. So you want to make sure that you do at least 1 joint operation, so that way you can get your daily first clear reward, so that way you can get a Hopawella or Silka matrice after you have at least 100 shard pieces. And you want to get in the habit of checking out the Instant Effects preview. And if you notice, on Fridays is when we generally have the ability to get either Silka or Hopawella shards. So if you have some Vitality solutions and you're going for these specific matrices, you might want to save them for those days, so that way you can get your 3-star Silka or Hopawella set. And next we have Interstellar Exploration, and you want to check Vera as well as check Aspera, so that way you can see all of your stargates. And unfortunately, you can only do these for Vera and Aspera because this does not work in Inners or Domain 9. But ideally, you want to look for level 3 stargates, and how you can tell is if this weapon battery category has a number 3, it's a level 3 stargate, but if it has a number 2, it's a level 2 stargate. And since we are approaching level 95, you may want to start focusing on weapon materials, so that way you can upgrade all of your characters. But if you don't have any level 3s or level 2s, you could always do dimensional trials and simply click go and use quick battle and use up all of your vitality fairly quickly. But you can do the same for matrix drills or go. Which brings us to our optionals, and that is giving gifts to your 1.0 characters. And the best way to do that is to go to the black market and talk to Hopkins, see this island and do the claw machine, or knock out your 2 trainings for the day. And next you have your 8 Mirroria Funzone, so that way you can get some extra Mira. And if you have not already visited the Greyspace, you want to try to knock out your 6 Greyspace Fishers, but the biggest rewards are in the Twilight Zone, but you do have an 8-hour time limit, so you could wait on this. But one thing you do want to make sure that you do every week is knock out your security force missions, so that we can get those old Vera coins and Mira. Which brings us to our events. So you have a little over 9 days to get the flame reruns, as well as Leowa, a little over 4 days to get the new Gachapon outfit, and if you are planning to spend some money in the game, you have a little over 2 days to get the extra limited time purchase reward, which is really good. So if you do plan on spending some money in the future, I recommend that you get this. And then we have our main event by going to this cloud section, to where you can get the 7-day login bonus. So hopefully you logged in enough times to get all of that. You can quickly get to Cloudscape, to where you want to try to knock out all of the items in this store by collecting materials. But also don't forget to check out the Cloud Store, to where you need to get this Jade currency, and how you're able to get this is you can quickly get it by playing the Candy Crush game, or just fight the monkey boss a few times. And if you're trying to get that new accessory, you may just want to focus on the monkey boss. But eventually, the Wild Goose Array will open up, which will give us another way to get the Jade. And I want to go ahead and quickly talk about the Mentorship again, so that way you can get all of the best rewards from this system. So you want to make sure that you're maxing out your Mentorship bond points with each of your mentees a week, and you can only get a grand total of 100. So if you notice over here, this has been out for 2 weeks, so I already have 200 with each of my mentees. And these are the ways that you can get Mentorship bond points. But one thing to note is that for raids, you can actually get 15 points every time you complete a raid. And the next thing that you want to do is make sure you knock out your co-op missions. Now, you only need to do this with one mentee and not all of them, like the Mentorship bond points, but these are all fairly easy to do. But one thing I did want to go ahead and point out is Void Rift. If you do Void Rift, you have to make sure that the mentor and the mentee is in the area with the boss at the end, because if the mentee is not near the mentor when completing these challenges, you do not complete these. And that is for everything on this list. But if you do reach the end of the week and you do not have a Void Rift charge, you can clear Void Abyss with your mentee, and that will count as well. And lastly, the Mentorship store. You want to make sure that you buy your Titan compiling module every week. Besides that, I would aim for data repeaters unless your gear is just really good. And if you really want to min-max the Bygone or Sequential Phantasm or some other very difficult challenge, you could consider buying these. And the co-op missions and bond points need to be done each week. But if you enjoy these weekly guides, I would greatly appreciate a like, so that way it can spread more on YouTube. And one thing that I wanted to point out about Domain 9 is the Vermilion Statue Wings, because you want to get this to level 6 as soon as possible, because it's going to make it very easy to collect your weekly energy every week. So when I scroll in, you can see that I can see all the points to where the energy has respawned. And this is for every area on the map. But one thing to note, that if you already leveled up all of these trees, and I would also include star level 6, you might want to start saving your energy for patch 3.1 once we get the new area, so that way we can quickly get the buffs there, where one tree reveals all the secret boxes location. And I also wanted to quickly talk about the modules for the Smart Servant. So Michichuk came out with a video to where he explained which ones are the strongest. So if you want a more detailed guide, I suggest you check that out, and I'll leave a link in the description. But here is a quick summary. Ideally for your main Smart Servant, you want to use Inspire. Then when it comes to single target, the strongest one is Ice Crush for your second module, and then for AoE, you would rather use Flame Strike. Another good option is Coordinate 2, but one thing to note is that your main character has to do normal attacks, and not every element mainly does normal attacks in the rotation. So Coordinate 2 will be good for Flame, Physical, and maybe Vote if you're doing a lot of Fenrir plunge attacks. But do note that if you're doing something like Sequential Phantasm, that the skill modules have to correspond to the element that you're trying to do. So for example, if I was trying to do the Flame Sequential and I have Ice Crush equipped, I'm not going to do any damage with that skill module. And besides that, you do want to try to put Assist on 3 of your other Smart Servants, so that way you can power up your Smart Servant even more. Which brings us to the weekly tab. So again, you want to make sure that you do everything down here, so that we can collect everything up top. But again, with the purple keys, I recommend that you save those to 3.2. And for the gold keys, you might want to save those to patch 3.1, because we are getting another Smart Servant, which should be stronger than all the ones that we currently have. So you might want to level that one up fairly quickly. Which brings us to our challenges. So if you're trying to do something like the Bygone Phantasm or Frontier Clash, you may want to use your Mia's Kitchen, so that way you can power yourself up. But starting with the Bygone Phantasm. So again, you want to take a look at this weapon bonus, and if you have a good weapon bonus, you may want to try to clear a few levels. And if your CS is high enough, you may be able to jump up 11 levels as long as you can beat that floor. But the biggest thing that will determine your rewards for the week is Sequential Phantasm. So if you're able to get a high score here, most likely you're going to get the top rewards for the week. Wormhole. Now this resets in a little less than 4 days, so you want to make sure that you cleared this before the reset. Frontier Clash. You may want to go ahead and knock this out, so that way you can get that golden gear. Origin of War. Now this resets soon, so if you have not completed this, I strongly recommend that you knock this out. It is at the lowest difficulty right now, so it should be fairly easy to do, especially if you can get a pretty strong friend to help you out. Void Rift. If this is a first time boss for you want to go ahead and knock it out. Void Abyss. Now this month is fairly difficult. Again, I ended up going with Flame DPS because I got Leo up, and this is a tech that I use. Since we are fighting Gaia at the end, I do strongly recommend that you try to get Mechanical Core, which will help you stay alive longer. But if you don't have a strong meta team, you may want to consider going Rainbow as long as you have the proper characters. Raid. You want to make sure that you clear this before the week is up, and if you have trouble clearing this, then you want to make sure that you at least do Heroic so that way you get 90% of the rewards. Break from Destiny. You want to make sure you do this at least one time during the month so that way you get those 250 Dark Crystals. Arena. If you're trying to reach Grand Marshal, you might want to put a couple hours in each day. Then we got our daily buy, so you want to go to shop. And while we're here, do make sure that you check your monthly pass because this is a very good deal. And if you are spending a little money, I strongly recommend that you have this monthly pass going all the time. But it's easy to forget. But next we want to go ahead and check out Hot. Now, if you're buying Vitality Solutions, I recommend that you don't buy no more than 2 a day. Because for me, my gear is pretty good, so I don't see a need to buy any more Vitality Solutions. But one thing you might want to consider is buying advancement modules and booster modules. But I am also getting to the point to where I don't feel that I need to get advancement modules and booster modules anymore because I have quite a bit. So you might want to take a look and see how much you have on your account. Next we have the Commissary, starting with the Crystal Dust store. So you want to make sure that you buy your Potent Omnium Crystal 2, your advancement modules, your booster modules, your core control module, and your augmentation factor. And you may even want to try to buy your Vera special gift so that way you can give those to new characters to help max out their trade. And with your extra gold and crystal dust, you could consider buying boots or gloves so that way you can get your crit up. And if you have good boots and gloves, then you can buy whatever else you want. Space Time store. You want to make sure you buy your advancement modules, your booster modules, and your data repeater for the week. And with your extra Space Time crystal fragments, you can either buy combat engines or tactical IP shards. Crew store. Now the only thing that you want to spend your points on are relics, and the relics that I recommend are either Omnium Shield, Space Time Rift, maybe a drone level 3, or hologram projector. Support store. You want to buy your gold, your black nucleus, your Space Time crystal fragments, your Space Time crystal dust, and if you have return points, then you want to buy your Space Time crystal fragments, your radar detectors, and maybe even the proof of purchase and gold nucleus. Point store. Now the only thing that you want to spend your points on are spare special gifts so that way you don't have to do black market training or Cetus Island again, but you could level up your matrices or weapons by buying matrix data packs or weapon batteries. And with your critical abyss points, you could buy clusters. But in 3.2, we are going to be getting more things added to this store with our critical abyss points, so you may want to save it. But besides that, I just recommend that you finish exploring all of Domain 9 and try to collect your weekly energy. Once that's done, you may want to go back to previous areas and make sure that you collected all the rewards there. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and if so, consider supporting me over at the Nova Project using my Nova ID. Also, I'm going to try to do these guides either Friday or Saturday so that way I can give everyone time to do what is needed each week. But other than that, I'll talk with you guys later.